40 years later, and we finally have a part two for Mel Brooks's History of the World. The sequel has an all-star cast. I was able to catch up with Zazie Beetz, Ellis, and Josh Gad about their earliest memories of Mel Brooks and how the series utilizes BIPOC actors to portray historical figures. And first, congratulations on History of the World. I know this is a hilarious sketch comedy piece, but there's also something really interesting, I think, going on with it, which is where it's kind of handing back some narratives to people who were denied stories in history. And I think it's significant that in this iteration, we don't usually get to see this in pop culture. Jesus and Mary Magdalene are Black. And I wonder, I'd love to go to you, Jay, and have you comment a little bit on this kind of stealth handing back of narratives to people.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything stealth in Mel Brooks. But
True.
but I think where you're leaning is I think for sure there the opportunity to like tell this story of Jesus as a man of color is obviously something that we rarely get to see and rarely get to talk about, and to see how that kind of got taken from him in this comedic take of it with the Council of Nicaea skit is absolutely hilarious. And also, to your point, like giving back a narrative and kind of showing that, hey guys, maybe we got this thing a little bit wrong, because clearly this man had to have some melanin in his skin considering where he was from. The rest of it, and just getting to play and just find different ways to portray Jesus in different moments in time and different genres of storytelling was also just a great fun thing to go do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And then Zazie, I wonder, would you talk a little bit about playing Mary Magdalene and in this kind of, in this hilarious piece that is also, again, handing back a story and, getting to be sisters with Quinta Brunson, which is pretty incredible.
Probably one of my favorite parts was working with and just getting to know Quinta. I mean, of course, I think in general, the whole series, I think, just gives all different kinds of people sort of voices and stories. I mean, I think they did a really good job with weaving in sort of this older comedy with perhaps some outdated elements, but then continuing the energy and just putting it into the world of 2022, 2023. I mean, as Jay said, clearly the people of these biblical stories were in places where they were melanated in all different fashions. And so makes sense that they to cast people who are melanated. But I think for me, I think Jay and I just played a lot with the characters, and I guess, sort of a subversive comment, I guess, in the cast.
Yeah, and also obviously hilarious. And then Josh, you get to play Shakespeare in a writer's room, and I think it's so funny because, again, I mean, I guess it's the way that I look at everything, but it's a commentary on this white man who is appropriating stories from people of color and women, and somehow it's hilarious because it's being called out. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about playing that.
Yeah, it was great to finally hashtag me too, William Shakespeare. Centuries in the making. Finally. Time's up, Will. I know it's just amazing to get to do a comedy like this, right? Like, having grown up with Mel Brooks films and them being like a definitive part of my childhood and a part of my path to becoming a performer, writer, actor, I never imagined a world in which I would not only get to do a Mel Brooks comedy, but get to do one with a living Mel Brooks. Yeah. And I think that the joy here is that, the first one was equally ballsy and daring for the time, as were Blazing Saddles and the producers and a bunch of other Mel Brooks movies. he was never shy about, calling out things as he saw them. And it feels like this is of a piece with that. And as, not only as it involves Mel himself, but new incredible voices like Wanda, Nick, Ike, and David, it's got a new flavor to it, a modernity that I think pulled all of us in and made us feel like we're doing something that honors the past, no pun intended, in terms of like the original film, but also honors the present in terms of what this comedy can be with fresh voices.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you. And then I wonder, Jay, would you, because Josh talked a little bit about Mel Brooks, and do you have a memory of Mel Brooks being in your consciousness as a younger person?
Yeah, I mean, the first Mel Brooks film I ever saw was Blazing Saddles on a VHS. I'm gonna guess I was living on like Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin, Texas, because I was probably like 7 years old when I saw it, and I just remember like my dad laughing so hard at stuff that, like, if my mom was in the room, like, it would have been a fight. Like, it would have somebody, I would have got cussed out, my dad would have got cussed out, Mel Brooks would have got cussed out via the TV. But my dad was like laughing so hard and at all this stuff that I knew I probably shouldn't be listening to, but he enjoyed it so much, it made me want to lean in and understand it. And then I think, like, in his viewing experience of it and his love for it, I fell in love with Mel. From Life Stings to the producer, I mean, everything that he's touched, I think, is like so important to film, to comedy, to, where our comedic, geniuses lie today. Like, there's so many people that have influence from him. So I definitely think that little 7-year-old me is freaking out right now.
Thank you so much to Zazie, Jay, and Josh for stopping by. History of the World Part 2 is streaming now on Hulu. Hollywood's biggest night is almost here. The Academy Awards will honor the best of the best in the film industry. The Advocate Channel's Stephanie Elam has more on what to expect.
And when we're done with this, we're going to be carpeting all of Hollywood.
The Oscars are back. The first since The Slap made Hollywood's biggest night the Academy's biggest nightmare.
It still hurts.
Just a week after Chris Rock took aim at Will Smith.
Second I saw Will Smith get up out of his seat, I'd have been halfway to the Wetzel's Pretzels.
All eyes will be on host Jimmy Kimmel, who says he will address the slap.
Comedians are mad about it. It's one of those things that for a group of people that find everything funny, it's like not funny, But of course, it's, you have to.
The fallout also upends Oscar tradition, since Smith won Best Actor last year.
They have to find somebody to present Best Actress, because typically the tradition is if you win Best Actor, you come back and you present Best Actress. But that's not going to happen because he's banned from the show.
This year's drama should come from the awards. Possible upsets?
I've been an actress since I was 19.
A late SAG Award surge from Jamie Lee Curtis could lift her over supporting actress favorite Angela Bassett. Neither veteran has ever won.
What does that mean for you?
You know what? It's just a clear example that you've got to hold on.
I'm smiling and breathing.
SAG and Critics' Choice winner Brendan Fraser will go down to the wire with Austin Butler for Best Actor.
I'm ready to fly.
The Elvis star won a BAFTA, the British Oscar, a bellwether since the Academy has welcomed more international voters.
Denzel Washington said to me, "You're about to work with a young actor," because he had just worked with him, whose work ethic is like no other. He was right.
If there's an Oscar shocker, it could be for Best Actress, where Michelle Yeoh is expected to win for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I am excited. I'm excited.
Cate Blanchett's BAFTA win keeps her competitive, but the outlier is Andrea Riseborough, whose role as an alcoholic in the small film To Leslie led to a social media push inside Hollywood that won her a surprise nomination. She was allowed to remain a contender after an Academy investigation into the tactics of the campaign, a probe that upset some of Riseborough's supporters.
There could be a protest vote that goes on here. And if there is a shocker on Oscar night, it's going to be if she wins.
You can find the Advocate Channel wherever you stream or online at advocatechannel.com. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist. I'll see you next time.